Welcome to the New Frontier Show. I'm your host, Jared Ravenscraft, joined by my co-host,
Joshua Ravenscraft, and we're sitting down with the trailblazers, the go-getters, and the creators, sharing stories from the journey and lessons learned along the way. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you to our friends at ARH for allowing us to bring you this show for free. Appalachian Regional Healthcare, the healthcare system of Appalachia. What's up, y'all? We have a very special guest today on the New Frontier Show. If you have been to Lexington, Kentucky, and you have been to the music venue, the destination, the Burl, you're going to want to hear from this guy. Cannon Armstrong is a co-founder of the Burl and all of the great things that is offered there. It's one of Lexington's best venues, coolest venues. They've got an arcade. They've got Burl Brew. Cannon's story is fascinating. And I didn't even know a lot of these things that we jump into. And he's a visionary, he's a grinder, and it's an awesome story. So let's get right into it.
Jared, this past Saturday, man, you missed a hell of a show.
I know I did. I wanted to be there. I was supposed to be back, but United decided to cancel every flight in America, so I got delayed.
Yeah, that's what Josh was saying, that you were traveling and then you thought you were going to make it back and then you didn't. So
yeah, I wanted to be there because that Bolo Mules 90s country show that happens at the Burl is one of the best, I think.
Always.
It was rocking too.
Just a kick-ass time, and I hated to miss it.
I didn't realize it was sold out until, obviously, when you walk in, you're like, oh, like it's shoulder to shoulder.
It was. And 2 nights of that, we did Wilco the night before. So that's one of those ones you got to, at this particular point in my Burl life, you save some energy and you erase some days. Maybe you definitely lose some days.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in between there.
Josh is still recovering.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, you had that drive, right? Did you go back that night?
Yeah. I drove back to Moorhead. I think we got back at like midnight or maybe 1 o'clock or something, but a little bit longer. Made a quick pit stop and got some pizza on the way home. So, but it was so much fun. Was the Burl's 10-year, obviously, was that like each night like a birthday party for Wilco and Bolo Mules?
Yeah, Wilco was definitely one of those things where it's like we're incredibly blessed with Wilco saying yes, because I feel like they could have sold, 3 times the amount of tickets they sold.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when they got here, it's like 3 buses and a semi, which is, we're just not made for that.
Yeah.
Where'd they park
kind
them?
of makes it cool,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, it makes it very stressful.
For sure. Like pulling up with they probably have to just drop their stuff off, and unless there's a lot somewhere they can go to.
We had to make some calls as sometimes happens, there's some days I think our neighbors hate us, but then there's some days that, they call me to go to a show and they're all happy. So I'm just like, I'm always like, yeah, if I get a neighbor or a business neighbor who calls and wants to go to a show, I'm always like, I'm going to take care of you.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
Least I can do.
Heck yeah. But that was so much fun. And I didn't realize that. Did you know Brian Campbell, BC, the video guy that we had there?
No, but Will did.
Will
Harvey. He knew, I guess, maybe from somewhere. Seemed like one of those interactions where it's like, man, I haven't seen you in a while. It's like, you were in a different part of my life where I ran into you.
I was trying to pick up on it too. I was looking, like, I obviously walked in. I saw you, Cannon, and I'm like, what's up, Cannon? And then I saw Will, and then I'm like, I did not expect Will and BC to know each other, but it makes sense because BC has filmed so much at the Burl. So, I mean, I figured that he probably knew most of y'all there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the first time I'd seen him. He's definitely somebody you can't miss.
Short guy.
Hey, Jared.
Just really blends in.
Yeah.
He's got one of those things where I'm like, dude, just arms are jacked.
Dude.
Broad shoulders.
Shout out to BC, our camera guy.
Yeah, he
Legend.
looked like he definitely looked like he played ball. He
Oh
played some
yeah,
ball.
he does.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a Kentucky football player.
Yeah.
He's yoked. But Cannon, thanks for jumping on. I know you're busy, but we got some questions we want to dive into, and
Sure.
honestly, like me and you and Jared, we've only met. Heck, I've met you once or twice, Cannon, but
Yeah.
like I don't think you met Jared in person. So this will be cool because like we generally like we're fans of the Burl, so we have a lot of questions. So this will be fun. But um,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I had to ask too, how was Rocky Atkins event? This was it
It
day
was
or two ago?
awesome. It was bust. I saw you had him on your podcast, and I haven't listened to that yet. Is that out there
Yeah.
already?
It's in the stratosphere. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's in the ether, man.
Yeah.
I saw. I mean, well, Rocky's one of those people that I've definitely met in my other life. Sort of my professional life outside of the Burl, and
Mhm.
worked with Rocky, and just a huge fan of just how he interacts with people. It's like you meet those guys who are just blessed with that
Yeah.
ability, and he is one of those guys. So like whenever I get a chance to like be around him, I'm always just kind of like taking notes on, how to talk and just be a presence. And so when he did that thing, and I think it was the cat was kind of out of the bag, like maybe the week before that he was going to
Yeah.
go run.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was kind of his first official sort of thing, and all the news crews were here and all that kind of official. I'm pretty much pronouncing my candidacy for governor, and I'm going to run. And they was just busting out the seams
Yeah.
in the brew. It was probably the most people we've ever had in there,
That's
and it
awesome.
was really cool, just because I'm excited for him and what he's trying to do. And
It's wild you brought that up, Cannon, because in most of the pod is obviously Rocky's a great speaker, but we bring that up. I'm like, man, how did you learn that? How did you just learn to walk into a room and control the room?
yeah.
Everybody's. I mean, we talk about that, but you gotta check it out. But it was cool.
Yeah,
He
I will. I'll
announced,
definitely check
yeah,
it out.
it's cool. He did it at the Burl. I mean, like I felt like he's an Eastern Kentucky guy. So many
Yeah.
music connections. It's just kind of fitting that he did it there, like his first
Well,
one.
when you sent me the headshot thing about like some of the people that were on, I was like, "There's Rocky." I was like, and it's just like he's exactly. I just expected him to be in there because he's always so
Yeah.
in touch with, like, some of the more, I would say, Appalachian, and just kind of that whole vibe is.
Hmm.
He loves bluegrass music, and we talk about picking guitars and all that stuff every time I run into him, if we're not talking about like work stuff. So it's just I don't know. He's just a cool dude.
Right.
Yeah,
And yeah, he can play a little music too.
Yeah,
Like
he plays some music. Yeah, all the time talking about, I'm gonna bring the guitar. I'm like, come on,
do it,
yeah,
man.
bring it.
do a solo setup there. So Cannon, are you originally from? I just assume that you're from Kentucky. Um, are you from Kentucky?
Yep. I'm born and raised in a very, very small town in Albany, Kentucky. So I don't know if you've ever listened to any Colton Bolin, but Colton's
Yeah.
from the same town where I'm from.
Wow,
And
Cool.
yeah, Albany, Clinton County. So, and it's right down below Somerset, Monticello, and then Clinton and Albany, and then you're into Tennessee. Like,
hmm
it's a one stoplight town when I was there. Back in I left in 2000, 2000, and then pretty much stayed in Lexington and did all the things that the big city offers. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? It was like I was
Well,
dying to
heck,
get up there, but I go back there every weekend during the summer. My mom and dad
that's
live
cool.
there, and it's just a small town. So I it just depends on who you're talking to, where you're from. If it's easier for me to just say Lexington and it doesn't need that sort of background, I say
Yeah,
that. But if I'm talking to somebody else that really kind of gets that and understands that, or it's a good way to talk about stuff, I'll be like, I'm from Albany,
hmm
because
100%.
truly that's where I'm from. It's just, you spend now I've been here longer in Lexington longer than I was in Albany. So,
wow,
That's
but
funny because people sometimes, like you said, you just got to feel the room who you're talking to. Like, where y'all
yeah,
from? And I
yeah, your
hardly,
draw comes out a little bit more. You know?
I'll just say Lexington is like a placeholder. I'm like, you know where
All
Lexington,
the
Kentucky
time.
is?
If they don't know like Kentucky, what part of Kentucky are you from? Louisville? I'm like, we're like an hour east of Lexington, or
Sure.
just say
Yeah.
Lexington.
But that's
Might as
cool.
well say that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the center point of pretty much the state anyway. So it's just like, and honestly, for what we do, it's just, I love the fact that we've got a room in Louisville, Zanzibar, that we book and program all that music. But Lexington for us just feels like such a kind of like the home base
The
for a lot
mothership.
of, yeah, a lot of everything we're doing at the Burl, obviously, but just everything in music feels like it kind of gravitates through that and into
Yeah.
that, and then kind of comes out of that a different version of itself. So even though what they're doing is just bringing all that culture from Eastern and Western and South and North and bringing it in and putting it on display, but then it kind of starts becoming just like what we said. Well, where are you guys really at? It was like Lexington, and it's
yeah,
just kind of like University of Kentucky. It's kind of like a easy place to point.
For sure. When you were
100%.
growing up in Clinton County, like, did you play any music, or how did you kind of get
Yeah, I
involved in
did.
music?
I did. I remember I took guitar lessons when I was like 10, something like that, and hated it.
Yeah.
Other than playing Enter Sandman, that was really like the only thing that was really cool, felt cool for a little bit. And then stopped playing guitar and then came back to it probably when I was like 14 or 15, really got into it. Started playing in a band and that was we were never good, that great, and we were never really good, and it was just kind of like, but I was the singer and played the guitar and had a few bands, and then when we moved to Lexington, I remember having this sort of thinking it was the coolest thing ever. We went and recorded in Dwayne Lundy's studio, and Dwayne's like a big time producer here in town and
Yeah,
has done
yeah.
so many great
Yeah.
worked with so many great acts, but I just remember being like right out of high school and coming to college and calling up this guy named Dwayne that I just found in the phone book or somewhere, and being like, "Hey, we'd like to record some music." And he was so gracious and so nice. And honestly, just from there, it kind of got me into the Lexington music scene.
Yeah.
And, so fast forward, and we just kept tinkering around with music and doing music. And then finally started working my way into it in another way, because I realized real quick, like, I'm not gonna be the rock star that that I dreamed I would be in that sort of way. It's not gonna happen. So I had to do
You're
something
still a rock
else.
star.
Had to do something
Yeah.
else. I was made for something else.
Oh
I
yeah.
realized especially seeing all these people come through, and you're like, this is really what they were sort of born to do in a certain way, or that they just worked very, very hard at it and just continually got better. You realize, like, I need to be on the other side of the camera. Or I need to be on the other side of the
Yeah.
stage.
Right.
That's like
Everybody's got their place.
that's
Yeah.
like Josh. Josh tried to be Keith Whitley for like a few months, and he realized it wasn't happening. So
Jared,
he kept
told
the
you we were going to
hair.
bring that up.
He kept the hair and dropped the guitar, but it's still going.
Man, I told you, man. Let's
Yeah.
save that one for the next pod. Sorry, Cannon.
Yeah. Well, there's still time for you.
He could do
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I got you can't see guitars back here.
I
But
have I have one quick question before we start talking about the Burl. What before the Burl, pre-Burl, what was the Lexington music scene like? Like I know there were some
Yeah.
bars and stuff, but I just can't imagine the Lexington music scene without the Burl.
Yeah. It's hard for, how you have these sort of generational places that everybody has to have somewhere to go to listen to music. I mean, regardless of where you're at,
Mm?
like even back in Albany where I was, there was this Static Tennessee, and I remember they got um Percy Sledge, which was just like, places find people find places to play where they, if they're not selling a lot of tickets, they'll find these weird shows. You'll see like somebody will be playing at a weird little place where it's like, how did they get this band? And then also like the band had one hit in like 1987, and they're still touring on it. It's just like people find places to play. So it was like I never had an experience of being at a music venue or whatever. So then you come to Lexington and you're trying to find all those things because you love music. And for me, it was like the Dame was really like the place that was really jumping. at that particular time, which was like early 2000, and it had been running for a while at that particular point, but it was like before that, all the old school guys are like, oh, it was the Rockledge, that was one of the spots, and then A1A had a stage, and I remember seeing some bands there, but the Dame was the one, and
The
that was the
Dame.
city block that they essentially tore down, that now houses, pretty much the Marriott and like the Starbucks and all this other
Uh-huh.
stuff has, a place now, but really when you compare it to what was there, it was just it's a totally different vibe.
That's kind of
And
Josh's vibe, the Jeff Ruby's place. That's where he spends a
yeah,
lot of time.
yeah,
Son,
yeah,
they wouldn't let me in here. Well, they might with the Burl hat. Actually, I have on.
yeah,
They say he's cool.
maybe, I don't know, depends on a certain,
I'll say I know Cannon Armstrong, man. Just
yeah, yeah,
let
yeah,
me go to the bar.
yeah. But the Dame was where I went. I remember going to the Dame and being like, these people are cool,
Mhm.
and it's like everybody feels so cool when you're coming into something, even if you're an artist or you're in, apparel, fashion, film, photo, whatever you're in, you start getting into some people who are the creatives around you, and you start feeling like, oh my gosh, this is where I belong. I'm with my people.
Yep.
Right.
And I remember
Right.
feeling like I knew nobody, but I would go to the shows there, and I remember seeing J. Roddy Walston and the Business, and it just blew my mind. And then after that, I remember seeing Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, because this was kind of like back then, bluegrass and Americana was really not, what was happening,
Mhm.
as far as like feeling like you were in a venue. So they were booking a lot of rock bands, um, you know, stuff like that. And I remember going in there, and it just pretty much changed my whole view on what it was to see Black Rebel Motorcycle Club literally in the middle of summer in full black leather jackets and like hoods over their head, just sweat pouring
Oh
off of
God.
them. And it just made me feel like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And so and then they ended up tearing it down, at some point later on, to make way for all the wondrous things that everybody thinks is, has to happen to grow.
Yeah.
And then, there's just an opening there. And Cosmic Charlie's was running during that time frame too, like after that. And once it kind of moved on, it was like, what is there, because we had no intentions. If somebody would have told me then, even right before we opened the Burl and bought the property, I was like, running a music venue is not what I was planning on doing with my life.
Yeah. So like at about that time, like what was the inspiration for the Burl? Like how did that come about?
It was we the story is, and I've told it several times. It's like it was just a lot of luck and timing, because we were actually, I had a band. It's called Chopper Brown. It was me and my lifelong buddy Seth, who was, I went to kindergarten with, known him forever, pretty much my brother. And he was the drummer, and I was the singer and guitar player. My cousin was the lead guitar, and then Seth's cousin was the bass player. So it was just like this whole sort of like
Family band.
family thing,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we were practicing in the Burl, and the Burl was, no, like if you didn't see it then, it's even hard to explain, because we posted some pictures for our 10 year of kind of what this property looked like. There was 88 junk cars. We had to count them, because we literally were thinking, how can we get somebody to come take all these cars out of here? It was a junkyard,
Oh wow.
pretty much. It was a
Wow.
full blown junkyard. There was a mechanic shop in the arcade where the arcade stands now.
Holy cow.
And then we rented half of the Burl venue, the original building where the stained glass is. We rented the back half, and then the front half was rented by like the remnants of a pretty much an old biker gang. Like, yeah,
Wow.
Dirty
yeah.
Mike
There
and
was
boys.
there was no heat, no air. There's a stove in there, wood burning stove. We burned a hole in the floor running that thing one winter, and it was like you would move into our little space. There was a petition right in the middle of the room, just a studded wall with plywood on it, and a door. And that door was like stepping into literally another world, because it was just like we would be back here making all this, psychedelic rock noise, and then these guys would be pretty much in the front half doing who knows what, whatever you can imagine.
Exhaust
That's
coming
like
through the
that's like
doors.
that's like a movie. Like you got a mysterious biker gang, it could be running like a mob or something like that. God knows what.
I'd like to think they were doing something like that, but I think they were just at that particular point they were doing a lot of cookouts, a lot of.
Just
There
vibing.
was a stripper pole that was in there and a pool table, and I imagine that definitely got used. But I don't have any great stories of. It was rare that I opened that door and walked into something that was like, oh, this is so cool. I want to stay. You know,
Yeah.
they were so nice to us, but mostly what happened would be we would start playing and then they would just start filtering in with beers in their
Oh,
hand.
heck yeah.
And they would be like, can you play some Bob Seger? And I'd be like, yeah, we'll play a Bob Seger tune. And then they'd realize like, hey, we're trying to practice our original music here. We're serious, you know.
Yeah.
And then they'd leave us alone. But if they got drunk, it was like, okay, practice is over. Like we need to pack up here and maybe get out of here at a reasonable hour at some point. But
The silver.
it was a wild time. They could ride their motorcycle into the building, and there was like they would do little burnouts inside the building. It was just it was wild.
Dude,
It's
that's
so
crazy.
wild, man. I would
Yeah.
never have guessed. I would never guess that.
I hadn't
at
heard
all.
that story, so I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah, they were here for, we that was like 2013, so we had about 3 years of that, and this part of town where the Burl is and where all this stuff is now turned into businesses was just like dark.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere was dark. When the sun went down, it was just industrial dark, like other side of the tracks type vibe.
Wow.
Dark side of the moon, dark side of
Yeah,
town.
a dark side of town. It's just like one of those things where I just, when you came down here, you really didn't know who was going to walk in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So when you
anybody would walk in. The tracks are out here. People would walk the tracks, and we're making all this noise. Sounds like something fun's happening. We would just have the most random, sometimes scary, sometimes just annoying, and a lot of the times just kind of vacant, beings roll through.
ghost
And
figures walking,
yeah. They just kind of hover outside and look, and then we would just ignore, and then they would finally move on.
Could have been some of
Wow.
Kentucky's basketball team at that point. Just
Yeah, I mean, it
walking
could have
around.
been anybody wandering the streets. Yeah,
Debbie Smith.
Debbie Smith
Yeah.
rolling in.
yeah.
Man.
This
It
is
was a
so
straight shot down to Rupp. So
Yeah, it's just so interesting to me because, like I said, we haven't ever like talked or caught up before. Like, so your journey to the Burl was like super authentic because, like, you had a band, come from
Yeah.
a small town. You get to Lexington with this band and kind of start it like authentically. So it's not like, did you go to college, Cannon? Or
yeah.
okay,
I went to UK and did all that, but I got one of the things that really set me on a different path was I got married very early and had a child very early, which Amelia's literally right over here right now, my oldest daughter, but she
Shout
works
out
there.
Amelia.
Yeah, you know Amelia. Yeah, that's my firstborn, but literally set me on a whole different path, and honestly probably saved me from ruin and all kinds of bad things. But it was one of those things where went to college, then Amelia came along, took a couple years break trying to figure out what I was going to do. My wife was working and pretty much supporting us at that time, and I still thought maybe I was going to be in a band, hitting the road, write some great song or something. And you do that for like 2 or 3 years, and you start realizing like, oh man. And then by then we'd had our second child, and I was like, I gotta do something with my life. So I went back to school, finished at UK, and then I was like, still knew nothing about what I was going to do, and it's like, and honestly, I don't know how you guys are, but like, everybody says you pretty much turn into your parents at some point. And my dad was like one of those guys where I was like, work was a big part of really what he was doing. And it was, and older people, you start realizing like, gosh, all they wouldn't do is work. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm never going to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be like, just all I do is think about his work and work, 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 work. And then you ultimately just turn into that. And I got kind of a kick in the ass because I was like, all right, I have 2 kids. I need to go back to school. I need to stop messing around here. But there was always this creative side where I was like, I wanted to keep playing music and do things, but I was like, I got to do something real. So I was like, I'm going to go to law school.
Boom.
So go to law
Wow.
school, get out, and essentially I'm like, okay, now I'm a lawyer, and never really wanted to be a lawyer. You know, it's just kind of like I enjoyed it a lot. But you just do things because you're just
You're
every day just
searching.
trying
You're
you're
searching,
searching, you
clawing,
know.
yeah.
I'm one of those people that if I'm not actively pushing something, if I'm not pushing, even if I'm pushing that rock for it to roll back and push it back up, I got to be pushing something.
Yeah.
And so I ran out of ideas and went to law school.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So
got that done.
You get Canon Law would have some really cool like ads like the Hammer has. You could be like the
Yeah.
Cannon,
Yeah. I'm just like sitting on a cannon, you know,
just
just like,
shooting trucks on the interstate.
right. Just like, yeah.
But that's wild how that happened. I never heard that. And so you guys are in the Burl, the biker band, the biker cruise
about
there.
what age,
Yeah.
Cannon, are you guys at this point? Like, you're in your
At
20s,
this
probably?
particular point, so it would have been really about 2013. So I would have been 33 at that particular point.
Still super young.
Yeah, still had, you know, a lot of honestly, I mean, it's just one of those things. 33 just feels like it was such a great age. You know, it's just like,
Larry Bird.
yeah, I was just in that point where it was just like still feel amazing, but also feel the motivation of like I need like time's ticking for me, like I got to do something. And so then we did the Burl. I was at that particular point, I was 36, you know, in 2016, which was like honestly, if I had done it at 26, we wouldn't be talking. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
Who knows?
it
Who
never would
knows?
have worked out, you
Where
know.
would Cannon be? What
I
would
was
Cannon be
pretty
doing?
much a late bloomer on everything I did. You know, I really took my time on what I was going to do. And if I'd somehow lucked into doing the Burl at 26, it would have been a different thing.
You'd have been in a biker gang right now. Listen,
Yeah,
to Bob Seger.
I would have been in a biker gang. I would have been, you know, probably not even in Kentucky. Who knows? But it all worked out, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, going like so, you know, you're renting half the space for the Burl. I could just imagine at the time, like now it's glorious. It's like Disney World lights. It looks awesome. But like, when did you start shifting gears to be like, all right, we're gonna like, when did you take over the space fully, just in that part?
Fully, we purchased the actual real estate in like 2015. And we bought it from the guy who obviously still owns he owns like the building behind the arcade here, and bought it for a really great price. Obviously it was a complete shithole in certain ways. And just a kind of like I remember I brought my dad through here, and this was like the first, you know, you first do your first real business thing, you know, on your own. Like, you know, you kind of get set up for like ideas with maybe your dad or your uncle or your friends or something, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, launch this LLC, whatever it may be, whether I'm hanging a shingle as an attorney or I'm starting a, you know, a catering company, whatever it is you're doing. And it's like, I remember bringing my dad down here. He's like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea, son. He's like, I don't think this is for you.
Voice of
And I
reason.
remember, yeah, I remember being like, of course anybody should say that. Touring this place back then, it looked like a bad idea, but it wasn't. And we kind of felt like it wasn't going to be because everything was coming, you know, or starting to
Yeah.
go. So took it over in 15, and then literally just like everything else that we have built down here, did it into this super organic DIY approach. Not a lot of money, you know, just focused on knocking things off on the list. Like the vision board is there with all the steps. All that stuff was there, except for the outdoor stage, which kind of got prompted by COVID. But everything was there. So it was just like, now we need to start working through the list. And the very first thing is that what are we going to turn this building into? And it was like a venue. So, and then I can't even, it's so hard to even remember back in those days, like how we got it open. I remember we opened our first day and we didn't have our ABC license, and we booked Trey Crowder, the liberal redneck, was our very first thing that we ever booked, which is just the most
Hell
comedy
yeah.
thing. You know, it's just like that was the first thing. And it sold out. We sold out 2 nights in a row.
Wow.
That's a hot start.
No
with
alcohol.
no
Just
license.
Yeah, no, we had a catering company come in and they made all the money that night, but I couldn't have cared less. The fact that people showed up in that little room and
oh
the room
yeah.
kind of looked like it did now. It had the stained glass in it. It had, the wood walls that I brought back from Albany up from the lumber yard and put all that wood on the walls to kind of cover everything that was bad.
Yeah.
And it was just that was the first show. And then
Yeah,
after that,
yeah.
Blackfoot Gypsies played like the next week.
Wow.
I love the wood in there. I think for a lot of reasons, but like behind me is wood from the lumber yard. Actually, our buddy was there at the show. I don't think we introduced, but they own Harold White
Yeah.
Lumber Yard. But like we have our shop and warehouse like wrapped in like hemlock and stuff. So when I go on
Yeah.
the Burl, I'm like, now that is badass. But it's cool to know it came from Albany.
It did. And it's just like that's honestly what shapes a lot of what happened down here. It was just like it's this kind of roadside, like kind of what I would call just kind of thrown together like room, that you go into a lot of whether it's like little honky tonks or like any little place that kind of turns into something. Like I've always enjoyed a cluttery type mismatch of things
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a bar.
Yeah.
Especially the whole sort of vibe of this place. It just kind of fit, but people do that because they don't have a lot of money,
For
and
sure.
Yeah.
and you can't pay a lot of guys who have the expertise to do it. Even though we did have some people who were really good friends of us who helped us do this because they wanted to be involved in it too. But that's kind of how it shakes out, and then over time you start to polish it. You start to get a little bit more
Yeah.
money. You start to put in the thing that most people do on the front end, but we couldn't do it.
Oh, we got
And
to
then it just
replace.
turns into
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it turns into this. The way it looks now is really the way it is, but it happens organically.
Man,
That's one of the things I'm most proud of. This place really organically happened.
yeah.
That's what I'm digging about this story. Like
You're preaching to the choir because that's pretty much how New Frontier started in a garage. We had deer heads on the wall and like firewood, like just raw lumber. Didn't have the money to design a nice space, and we just built it organically.
Dude, our first clothing rack was like I mean, we could have bought a clothing rack, but we chopped down a tree and like put the piece of wood up and started hanging shirts on it. So like, I mean, it's just because we didn't have that much startup money, so it was like super organic. But like the stained glass cannon,
Oh yeah.
that is like the North Star. It's like the Big Dipper. It's like follow the stained glass. How did that come about? And you said it was always there. Was that like in the building
We put
already?
it in. We put it in. So we had the logo.
Yeah.
My good friend Dustin Flowers, again, like another Albany connection, which is so strange how much of that we brought in. And it was just like we this guy rolls in, pumping his stereo. But yeah,
Tell them to hop on.
yeah. So come on.
Come on, Bill.
But we built the logo, and then we were like, I remember going to this guy, and his name was Zig Ziglar. That was the name of the stained glass guy in town.
That
Was
sounds so
Zig.
familiar.
It does, because I think there's like some motivational speaker named Zig Ziglar. Or like,
Yes,
You're right.
yes, that's
but it's
it.
not that guy.
This is not
Okay.
that guy.
No, this guy was definitely not that guy. He was like a little hermit stained glass guy on National Avenue. And we took the logo down there and essentially pretty much was like, hey, can you turn this into stained glass? And can you make it as big as possible? And he's like, I can make it massive. I was like, well, no, just like 3 or 4 feet. We want a nice 3 or 4 feet round circle. And he came in and looked at the space and then built that. And then we were like, oh, this is perfect. And I
Yeah.
remember pulling it out of there thinking like, holy shit, like if we drop this, like
It's over.
we'll never be able to afford to buy another one. It's like,
Yeah.
so, and then we put it in ourselves. We
Wow.
cut the hole, put the thing in, but it's all based off the logo. Essentially took the logo and made the stained glass, and then it did become this whole thing, which was
Yeah, it's
you want something where people know where you are.
oh, dude, that's the symbol, like the tree and this. Is it a snake and like a bird? It's just
Yeah, it's like, and it was not meant to be like biblical or anything like that. But
it's wild.
the more I think about it, like we got the tree and we got the snake and we
It's
got,
like
it was just very Jesus, and like Old Testament types. It was just like, but that was not, I don't even know what we're thinking. It just felt cool. We didn't want to do a skull. We didn't want to do a skull. Everybody
Yeah.
was doing a skull back then.
Well, it's awesome, and it stood the test of time. It's got its own like mythology now. Like people
It's
try to
like
decipher what it means.
it's like the Hotel California album cover. It's like, what did Cannon and them really mean by that?
Yeah, what exactly? And it's like at the heart of a lot of
What's he
those
mean
things,
by
like
the snake?
not much. It's like there's no sort of like we weren't like because I remember it was one of the best things. He's like, there's this comic guy who writes songs. His name is Wheeler Walker Jr. I don't know if you ever heard
Oh,
of a
Cannon.
Oh, stop right
Oh,
now because Josh is going to do a backflip. That's his favorite guy.
I
so
wouldn't
Wheeler
say my
Walker.
favorite guy, but I know who it is.
It's entertaining as hell.
Summers in
So
Kentucky is Josh's anthem.
Oh,
yeah,
come on now.
there we go. So Wheeler Walker comes in and plays the show here. He's like, I'm in this because we had the whole quilt pattern design that's on the back behind where the merch is sold, like
Yeah.
that kind of barn quilt things. Like I'm in a barn, church barn, and Wheeler's obviously can say it so much better, and it had a lot of profanity and a lot of just a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
innuendo in it. And but that's truly what it ended up being. Like the stained glass has this church vibe, and then we've got the barn quilt on the other end of the room. It just has a lot of country
Whether you
folk
meant
vibes.
to or not, it's like the perfect kind of Lexington, Kentucky space. Like the stained glass people would see out at the Baptist church they go to, or the barn quilt, like where they're
Yeah.
from. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It does feel
It
kind
all-
of church, like revival type thing. Yeah, I could see that. Cannon, did you all know that the sun's path would like set behind it and the sun
We
comes through
did.
it in the
We
evening?
did after we started really thinking like which side does the stage go on, and then we're like, we're gonna put the stained glass in so people know where they're at in pictures. And then, but man, we were not prepared for like I don't know if you guys have seen those pictures. They're everywhere from years and years of like certain points where that sun comes through.
Oh,
If
it's
it's an early show, it comes through and it just does this sort of effect that's like it's just beams of light, just like
I've been in there.
pouring through in this way that kind of just feels very mystical and very spiritual and adds
Yeah.
that whole mystique to what's happening, even if the music is not moving you in
Dude.
certain ways, like that thing will hit you and you'll stand back. People can start getting their camera out. I'm like, okay, here we go. They're gonna
Yeah.
start. It's
There we
like
go.
they see their the spirit of their dead grandmother or something in there coming through to speak.
Josh,
Jared, that's like that time that you were staring at it for like 10 minutes. I said, you got to wake up, man. There's a
you
show going
snapped,
on.
and I snapped back
I
into
put
him,
some
like,
smelling
where am I?
salts in front of him. Like,
Yeah,
wake up.
like come back to us. Come
No,
back,
but
man.
it is super cool. Like that, you do feel like an energy in there when that happens. It's like, whoa, this is really cool.
Yeah. So we love that, and it happens every single day, pretty much every day. It's getting hit unless the clouds are really out.
So you guys obviously had the cool the concert venue space. When did the arcade come about? Because I think that's such a genius idea. Like the first time I remember going, like 6-7 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago, it's like this '80s Stranger Things kind of vibe when you walk in.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and I remember like it was 2018 because that's when Will Harvey, who I purposely told him he can't come on the podcast. I was just like, these guys don't like you. You can't. No, he was like, Will
Josh had-
came into the fold then, and because he had the band Bendigo, and they booked a show here, and I remember we were like, we're looking for somebody to help, to bring a little bit more money to get the arcade open and whatnot. And Will came in, and so that was 2018. But we already had the idea. It was just a matter of like, you run out of money,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, that's phase two. And then when we felt like phase one was steady enough, but also in much need of another phase to kind of get us going more, we were like, we're ready to do phase two. So Will came in, brought all his expertise and a little bit of money, and then we got that going. And it was cool. That was honestly one of the more fun build outs because you got a little bit more money,
Mhm.
and you can have a little bit more fun with designing the space.
Yeah, dude, like the TV wall, it's such a unique, cool idea in space. Like, and you were talking earlier, like how you walk into a venue, like you mentioned with the place, I forget the name that was in
The
Lexington,
Dame, yeah,
the
the
Dame.
Dame.
Like you're in like with like-minded people, and you all are kind of about the same vibe. Like when I go to the Burl and like go to the arcade, I don't know all the people there, but I feel like we're all amongst the same vibe and community. And like the arcade is a space like that, like people that like nostalgia and kind of the vintage feel
Yeah, and
that's
it's
there.
it's divey, you know. It's like
Yeah.
every one of our spaces is like within the family of it, but they're all a little bit unique, you
Mm-hmm.
know. The club's different from the arcade, you know. The club's very country, rustic, you know. And we knew that we had to program bluegrass and country music
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't want to only last for like a couple years or something. You know, we knew that that was going to last forever here. People are going to come to the state and expect to hear it. So we need to focus on it and program it. But the timing of it and
Mm-hmm.
the huge explosion of that scene and when we came in was just so perfectly timed through luck on our part and whatnot. But just everything just launched or was right in the process of taking off, and we just hooked on and just rode, you
Rode
know,
that baby home.
Hang on,
rode it
boys.
as far as we could, you know, and still riding it, you know.
Will,
It's
Yeah, for
like,
Will,
sure.
yeah, Will's still riding it. He's still
yeah, hell
rolling.
yeah, yeah, he's somewhere riding right now. He's like, he's booking, he's like, who's the next guy? You know, he's over there thinking about like all that and like, and now it's just people come to you to book a
Oh,
show.
yeah. I mean, we'll get to this if we haven't already, but obviously, like you guys, when you think of Kentucky music venues, Burl's the first one I think of. I'm not just saying that. Josh would say the same. Like that's the one spot, the Burl.
Yeah,
Boom. That's
yeah,
it. I'd
It's
rather
just a
go.
known thing now. Like Cannon said, like people probably seek you guys out now instead of like you guys having to kind of seek people out. It's probably more of a thing like, you know, sifting through people to see who you can fit in your schedule,
for
maybe.
sure. It
Uh,
is now. Like we're booked, you know, where we were trying to be booked, you know, 2, 3 weeks out when we first started. Like we're now a year, you know,
Wow.
it's like a year out.
that's
And
awesome.
I'm booking like next summer, you know.
Heck yeah.
I'm trying to think about that, which is great because but then you get like one of the main things is that we started with in a local community sort of scene idea and like that's what we are. So you always got to make room for anybody, you know, that's local. And also like everybody wants to play their first show, you know, and it's just sad now that I'm in a situation where it's like uh I gotta I got to tell these guys, like, we recorded our first record. You know, we want to do it at the Burl. Can we get a weekend in October? And I'm like, man, like,
Yeah.
play a Wednesday night first, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know, just save your album release. Just come play a Wednesday or a Sunday. Like,
Yeah.
show that you're gonna, you know, get that kind of under your belt, and then like work into that. So everything's kind of rolled into these different stages of like, are you? Can we afford to give a Saturday night to a up and coming local band, or can we do something else? You know?
I have said, I mean, I have so many questions, but like you guys do a great job of mixing in like alt, country, bluegrass, different
Yeah,
types of music. It's like the perfect blend. I'll see your all's monthly schedule roll out. And I'm like, oh, they got the night tapes on there. All this Cole Chaney and like
yeah,
Bolo Mules and all these
yeah,
groups. Like it's just such a cool blend, and y'all do a good job of that.
yeah. We had War and Treaty last night. You know, my dad is like a major blues and soul guy,
Yeah.
so he is for the last 10 years always said, "You gonna let me know when you get a blues guy out there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna let you know." So he happened, and I never do because we never really get it. And I'm like, and then he came in and heard War and Treaty's sound check. He's like, "Well, thank goodness I just happened to be up here," you know. And I was like, "I keep telling you to call me when there's some real music coming through," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's there."
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but you know, we do. It's like you know, we want to be dynamic
Hmm.
and also be prolific in the sense of like we want to be constantly putting it in for so that people can kind of pick and choose when they want to come.
Hmm.
But like it has to be diverse to a certain extent. You know, if it's not, then you kind of just get in one basket. It's like people just, and that's great because that's where the majority of the money is made, and that's what keeps the lights on. But it's like I just want different people down here.
It's a welcoming space, and like you bring in all types, like people like different music, and you guys offer that. And I think one thing Josh and I were talking about before we got on was like, if it's such a good community space where people like people you don't know come together, and like whether you're from Lexington or you're from Moorhead or from Albany, what
It
maybe,
kind of, yeah, it kind of
yeah,
feels like you're all friends when you're there. And I was just
Yeah.
reminded of that, like this past Saturday, like saw a lot of old friends. Always happens, like, hey, Josh, you got out of Moorhead. But like you always end up meeting and seeing people, or like if you see a stranger, like it's always people. Like if you're at the Burl, you're like, you're cool. I can go up and talk to you or have a
Yeah.
convo. There feels
Yeah.
like
You
it's a
got
great
something
community
in
spot.
common, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And now, a word from our sponsors. L81, the official soft drink of the New Frontier Show. And I've got to say, I'm enjoying a nice, cold, refreshing Diet L8 myself right at this very moment. Thank you to all the folks at L81. Back to the show.
but this is a dumb question, but like obviously you guys you're pretty intentional about that, like it being a community space for everybody to come to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We want like I want to see like all the shows are all ages,
Hmm.
which you know, there's nothing I make we're not gonna make any money off of 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids coming in here or 15-year-olds coming in with their mom and dad. But I will tell you, like, think about all the things that you've seen. Like, I remember my dad taking me to see the Allman Brothers. That was the very first concert I ever went to, which totally shapes your whole thing. I mean, you can't go to an Allman Brothers show as your very first concert and not be completely impacted.
Hmm.
So it's like when I see people come into like, you know, some Nick Jamerson's playing, and you know these people have brought their 13-year-old son or their 13-year-old daughter, and you know they're seeing that as maybe one of their first musical experiences, and that's a thing, you know. So like, of course, we're not making any money off this kid coming in here and buying Shirley Temples, but it's like we're having a for sure impact on people who live here or people who come to the borough that will last for a very long time because I always said if this venue makes it 10 years, like I'll be ready to I'll be happy to pack it up and be done. But now I'm like my whole mindset has changed. It was like it's just a 1000%. Like I heard Tom Holland talking about when he was like he plays Spider-Man, right? And like done like one or two movies. He's like, yeah, I don't hope I'm not playing Spider-Man when I'm 35, you know?
Yeah.
And then like I just saw an interview where he was like, that kid didn't know anything. You know what I mean? It's like I'm completely blessed to be still doing this. And it's like, you know, your whole mindset changes to now it's like I want people to be like, I saw my first show there when I was like 15 and now I'm 25 or 30 or 40 and I've been going to shows for 20 years here, you
Yep.
know? Cuz that whole experience of like music and being able to just hop in the car and drive 10, 15 minutes and be a part of that community can positively shape your whole like social experience,
Oh God, yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think, yeah, so many shows come to mind, and yeah, it's you have such a good experience, and
I mean, Cannon, to your point, like we have been like just as like fans of the Burl like years back. Like we've been to so many shows, like memorable moments where I'm like, man, the Ian No album launch party was so sick, and even just
Ian No
being
is so
out.
sick. I mean, God, that dude is
Yeah,
like,
mhm.
just so many good and it's good. It's like good, clean family fun. It's good to be out in person at
yeah,
these events, and like it's those type of things are what takes like a state forward, or like a community, or a town. Like no doubt that like that's what like Burl is like thrusting Kentucky forward in that space for sure. Because people come from, I'm sure, like not just Kentucky, but I'm sure you
oh,
talk to folks all over. Yeah.
our ticketing, you know, list or whatever it is that we keep of everybody, the information, people's information. It's like they're from all over, man. I mean, like California to Rhode Island, wherever. I mean, it's like people are passing through to see bourbon or horses or whatever may have brought them through. And then somebody goes, you should go to the Burl. You know, we've gotten thrown into this list of top fives or whatever that's like things you should do, and people just do it.
Oh yeah.
And then they come through and it's like a totally authentic experience, you know? It's
Listen,
like,
we at the E&O concert.
Yeah.
This just came up. I just thought of this actually, not on the note sheet at all, but it was sold out obviously. And a buddy had some tickets. Said we have some folks from the Netherlands in town. Never been to Kentucky. Business friends. Show them a good time. Kind of threw it on my plate, and I'm like,
yeah.
well, I'm already at the Burl. Like, y'all just want to come over here? Son, they had the biggest night of their life. Like, they were dancing in the Burl with beer. They said, "What is this place?" You know, and I'm like, it's the effing Burl, baby. Welcome to Kentucky.
Yeah.
But it's just a small example of like they were blown away. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, you have stories like that, I'm sure, of people, but I thought that
Oh
was
yeah.
pretty cool.
It's cool because it feels like I'm in Kentucky. You know, everybody says bourbon and horses, which is absolutely the staples. You know, respect to the horse lords and the bourbon
Horse lords.
bourbon kings and queens. You know, but it's like bluegrass music, country music is a major part of this state, and like we're just happy to be sort of, like I said, just hooked onto it and trying to get it out there and honestly just have people have a place to be a part of it
Mhm.
is so cool. I remember we had this band called the Sheepdogs, which were from massive in Canada, absolutely massive in Canada. And it was like one of the first year of shows. And like they come here and played and just absolutely rock just like blew my mind. And it was like right when the Black Keys were like really big. That time
Mhm.
frame of like that blues rock, White Stripes, Black Keys
Yeah.
thing was all just going crazy. And they came in here and there's all these people from Canada. And they were like, these guys play like arenas. Like, what are they doing here? You know? And it was just like, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like, and then you start realizing there are these people who come through and play this little room and you think they're going to hate it.
Mhm.
It's just like when we had Wilco here on the day before Bolo. I remember like all the staff that was obviously working on their crew, they're used to playing much bigger spaces, and that makes things stressful for them. But I remember them telling, they're like, yeah, this sucks for us, but like the band's gonna love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna eat this up. And
That's
it's just
cool.
like it's just like kind of cool that, it's definitely not made for big shows, but when they do happen, it's just a different experience. I mean, Phoebe Bridgers stopped in here this year, which
That's
is just
nuts.
Wow.
absolutely crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's just more intimate too. I think that's part of the Burl too. It feels a little more intimate than being at like a big show, or
Now,
like
hey,
like an arena type show
I'm
or
not gonna
something.
front. I'm being 100% true right here. I'd rather go to a show at the Burl than I would Rep Arena, just for the experience I have. Like it's the
Oh yeah, I've
authenticity
I've avoided those
all
shows.
day.
Yeah,
I'll say
yeah,
that till the cows
I'm
come
with you.
home.
Double that one. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Cannon, I know we're getting close to our time here, but I wanted to ask. There's probably 1,000. You've seen thousands of shows. Are there like any that are your favorites or that stick out to you as like pivotal moments, kind of in the Burl's
Yeah,
history?
pivotal moment shows obviously is the Three Nights of Tyler, which
Oh yeah,
we wouldn't exist, had you know, that whole machine and thing not been what it is. So those nights were monumental for us, and like and just huge point in our launching and getting going. Kind of everything moved from that. But then after that, like big shows that really kind of, changed our whole trajectory was like, the moving from that local regional artist that is really starting to kick off and go bigger, finding those people, like kind of the Tyler thing was, he was already gone, like he was going, um, but like started realizing like we've got to get people early if we're going to stay relevant. So it was like getting those people like that, like whether it was, I don't know, like gosh, Wyatt Flores, or like any of those bands that are like that.
Charlie
And
Crockett.
Charlie Crockett, and then all those kind of things were Ian knows, all those. I literally was looking at that poster design that had all the artists that had played here.
That's crazy.
And, we were just looking back on some of those. And I can remember, I remember seeing all them witches here inside. And then they played outside, which I'm a rock guy, I want to hear amps and drums and guitars loud. And I remember that show was absolutely amazing. We had Winona Judd did a thing on our outdoor stage. We've had so many amazing. I can't even remember, guys. I don't
That's what
even
I'm
know the
saying, yeah.
shows
There's
that
so
shaped
many.
me anymore. I literally, they're just part of whatever happened. I could go back and look at that list and be like, oh my gosh, I remember this show. I remember that show.
That's a hard question.
Was just it's hard to look back. I'm notorious for not looking backwards.
Oh yeah, and you guys are looking forwards, and you have to be, obviously. And just like us, New Frontier, you got to keep your eyes forward and keep innovating, and you guys do that from the new space, the Burl Brew, awesome space, pool tables, your own beer, six space, and then so much more.
But I think some things, big things that stick out to me too and other people, is a lot of the give back shows and the give backs that go through the Burl, that the Burl host. You never want to see anything bad happen, but if a flood or an event comes up, it seems there's always the Burl does use, you all use your platform to give back to Kentucky causes. I think that's so cool, and that's a big part of that too.
It's become their space on those things, we don't. I will say one of the things that makes this easy and accessible is we're really cheap. It's just one of those things where it's if you want the room and people are going to show up for what you're doing, it's going to be we're just cool with you doing it.
Yeah.
It's and I think we've always kind of tried to apply that, and I think that's why it's become a community, because it's you start getting successful, you start making things happen, and your calendar gets full, and you start being selective, and you start pretty much pricing people out because you're just bottom line is all you're thinking about. We've totally not done that. It's if something happens or somebody's got a great idea, we're starting ground floor with them.
Respect.
We're because I can remember what that was like, where people would not email you back, or people would not let you use them to get where you're going. And obviously you have to pick and choose on okay, this guy's going not where I want to go.
Yeah.
But it's we have done that because I firmly believe you have to let people use the space to elevate whatever it is they're trying to do, if it's a good thing.
I
And
know
you can't
that's
price them out.
Man, preaching to the choir.
I know that's true for sure, because when I reached out, you responded back very quick and very nice, and even being at the Burl,
But you guys were already hitting it. You were hitting at that point. You know what I mean? It was we were happy to that New Frontier merch thing. We already sold all that.
That's a good segue.
We didn't even get to launch that. It's I don't have any more of that.
It's gone.
Are you serious?
It's gone.
That's a good problem.
It's gone. It's gone.
Dude.
Those hats, gone. All that is gone.
Oh
And
my
it's
God, dude.
I literally was talking about this the other day. I was like, dude, we didn't even get to we're gonna post this collaboration and be well, we just wanted to let you know we did it, but it's gone.
Dude, I didn't
Which is
know
cool,
that.
but
That's
also
badass.
it's all gone.
That's badass. I'll just because when we were at the show, at the Bolo show, I started looking around and I'm like, holy hell, there's a lot of this gear is everywhere. And so let's talk about that for a second. So the Burl, for your all's 10-year anniversary, we partnered up with us, New Frontier, and we have some sick apparel items with the Burl, some camo hats. My favorite item is probably the design with the Burl, the building on it. It's on the patch on my hat and a shirt.
Yeah.
But by the time this is out, folks can find it on your all's online. Well, if it's sold out, I don't know. But
we're gonna have to re-up or do something. I mean, or otherwise just tell nobody it happened. It's because
what was it?
That's
boys,
crazy.
I'm more than happy to put the order, run it back, just so we've got something. But it was gone, man. They
cool.
I had a guy buy 24 hats and 7 shirts.
Dude.
Literally was they love the Burl. He's like, I want everybody in my office or my family. They're all going to want these hats. So
Wow.
he
Nick
just
Jamerson
bought.
didn't have to do that.
Yeah, right. No, it's
Jared,
just some random HVAC guy. He was just like, he comes to all these shows. He's like, I'm going to give these things for like birthday presents and
Heck
shit. I was
yeah,
like,
dude.
you can only buy like I got more hats than shirts. So I was like, you got to only buy like 7 shirts, man. Like,
you got to put a
That's
limit
cool.
on it. Yeah,
I
that's
did.
badass. It's sold out. I mean, that's
What
cool.
daggone, I
Sold
didn't
out.
even know that. But
Yeah.
yeah, when you guys reached out or however we all connected,
I think I reached out first because I was like, we
Yeah.
should do something for
I think
sure.
Will Harvey was definitely who you guys were talking to when you started that. Will's always the idea guy. He's got all these ideas, and like I'm the
Yeah.
guy that's like follow through guy.
yeah, I mean, we worked with Amelia, super awesome. Your team, super awesome. And like the stained glass, like it's on the hat I've got on.
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
That
that
patch
color.
is sick. And it's combined with like a camo we designed. So it's a very Kentucky item. And yeah, it just felt very Burl, like kind of a camo hat with that patch. It's sick.
Yeah, it sold. They loved it.
That baby rolled.
So by
That's
the time,
like when you know you got the right thing out there for the right people. It's like it was just flying off the shelf.
yeah.
Well, we'll have
if somebody's listening, like, oh, I want some of that stuff. Hopefully, in the meantime, we've all put our business caps on and figured out how people can find it. But that's
Yeah.
we got a couple in the warehouse. So we got 3 hats if anyone wants to run by. If you have the hat off my head, it might have a little sweat on it, but
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Well, we may have to do that. I literally I took like 4 of them home, and they're like, we don't have any more hats. I was like, well, God, I got 4 at the house, but I need at least 2 for myself, y'all.
Yeah.
So it's like then I started handing out my own supply. So yeah, but they were hits, and I appreciate that. Y'all nailed that.
Well,
Thank
dude,
you
yeah.
all.
Thank
It
you
was
all
you
for
all, yeah.
including us because, like, I mean, that was a dream project because we've been to the
Should've
Burl for
ordered double.
years. Should have.
Yeah.
It's typically how it goes. Like with the L8 stuff, it's going crazy. The collab we did with them, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, you
What's
never
funny,
truly know.
It's just so funny. This is already sold out and we haven't even launched it yet. Or like announced it.
Yeah, I know. You tell
You
me
said
what we
keep
did
it
with that.
quiet. Just don't tell anybody.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it's definitely cool social media stuff, but it's like people are gonna be like, those are sick, and then we're all gonna be like, yeah, they were really cool.
They were
That's
cool.
true. There's like 2 different things. It's like we all know, like you can post something, it's cool, it gets likes, but then there's like a real field test. Like, does it sell and does it look well?
Sure.
Because that's what, if you're looking at that part of it, this checks both boxes for sure.
It did.
I saw
It
it.
did.
Yeah,
Does this
gear
car
everywhere.
run? Yeah, it runs.
Yeah, it runs.
Does it need new
And,
tires?
It was in the right place for it to do that. That whole we had 1,500 people here, so it's like everybody was really into exactly what we were providing. So
Sick.
it was just kind of like, okay, we had the right product for those people.
That's awesome. It's funny because I'm looking in the arcade back there at that fan. It was kind of hot, and I was camped out by that fan back there at the Bolo
Yeah.
show. I was
Yeah, it was
Dodge-
hot. It was hot.
Cannon, what's coming up? Like any other big events this summer or fall coming up?
Burl County Fair. Yeah, Burl County Fair is probably the next kind of marquee sort of event for us. It's August 22nd. It's we've got mountain grass unit. Bluegrass is the big focus for this one. So they're headlining. There's gosh, I wish I knew the full bill. I'd have to look on there to see it.
I know Hancock and Chouse is playing that night too.
Yeah.
I think we know
Yeah.
those guys, so we'll
Yeah,
have to
East
be there.
Nashgrass.
Yeah.
East Nashgrass is on, and we got a couple other locals. But when we do that, it's like y'all been to your own little county fair there. That was always something when I was a kid I just loved because it's so carnival-esque, but a little bit sketch.
Yeah.
So it's like we really try to bring in some of the more hokey elements of it. Like whether it's the cakewalks or whether it's we're gonna have a Dunkin' booth. We're gonna have like a mechanical bull, a slide. Just some real kind of like to
Yeah.
give it the overall aesthetic. But the music is always the focus. It's just kind of like we're having like these little things just to tie in the vibe. And but yeah, it's one day. We're gonna have rides and sort of games and some little kind of things in between that kind of make it feel a little bit like you're in a small town county fair.
Oh, dude, I can't wait.
Yeah. we can't get that out of us here as much as we try.
Yeah.
You know, my partner Jomo Thompson, he's literally from like the islands. He's like, and then spent a lot of time in Florida. You know, like some of the shit that we do here, I'm always like, now Jomo, this is kind of like a, you know, this is kind of a real country thing. You know, like a, you know, it's like it seems a little bit redneck, but it's cool, man. It's cool.
Country
Trust me.
things.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it real. It's gonna be elevated.
That's cool.
Real country like, yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're trying to keep you good on time here, but I got a couple more things if you got
Yeah,
a
that's
second.
fine.
I'd
Yeah.
love to. Like one thing that stuck out to me, like talking about the Burl story. One, it's authentic, but two, it's like it's a good reminder to people out there, like even young people, like, man, I want to do something cool. I want to do something creative. Like the Burl story was very authentic. Do it your own. Build organically and grow. We share that with New Frontier and preach that all the time. Like we're not some big Harvard guys or investors or anything. We're just, kind of do it your own, work, build, and then organically grow. I wanted to ask you, would that be your advice for like people if, they're like, man, how do I
Yeah.
build? Do I have to do this or that?
Yeah, I think like one thing I've learned about the Burl is obviously, being open to seeing what the opportunity might be, and having a little bit of fear is really really good,
Oh,
but
yeah.
also like too much of it just prevents you from ever taking any steps. So it's like whenever you start feeling like, because there's people who have no fear and just will go on anything. I was never that way. Like I always look at the negatives a lot and think about them a lot. And then as I got a little bit more what I would say smaller viewpoint of like actually instead of just looking at everything from like this big picture, I could start compartmentalizing everything. And that's a word that I use a lot here is compartmentalize, and we've just done that, and it makes everything feel a little bit more manageable. But
Yeah.
yes, VC, it's like we're not out here, seeking investors to go launch 17 Burls in the next 5 years. We definitely looked at this idea of like we need another location and we want to do another location, but it won't be called the Burl. There's only one, and it's like it's not going to be a franchise thing. If we go and do something else, which we've been looking and really making moves to open up another place in another state somewhere else. But it's like there's only one Burl. We're never doing anything more than that. Like know like who your audience is and what your vision is, and like stick to that. But starting organically was the only way it made sense to me because I didn't have a ton of money. And also what we were doing was not something where it's like we didn't invent anything here. We didn't do anything that nobody hadn't already done in a certain way. So it was like we didn't have this sort of Shark Tank product where it's like this thing's going to go to the moon type idea. It was just like you got to grind this thing. And it needs to, if it gets picked up and people start responding, then you can make a little bit of money and maybe you turn that into one more venue or one more place. But like there's so many people who just set up $20 million venues, or set up like these fun entertainment district places that are kind of like what the Burl does, but they just feel so polished and massive. And like everything in them is done to the T. The tile is from, Italy. The lights are from, Japan. All this is just like spare Jurassic Park. Spare no expense,
dude. Yeah.
And like that is the thing that you can go to a million of those places, like thousands of them, and they have no impact on you. Like you'll walk in the space and be like, this feels so well done, but there's so many of them that are so well done and so cookie cutter now that even the ones that are so out there and great, that you're just kind of like, there's no real, it's there.
It doesn't move you.
It doesn't move you and it doesn't stick with you. It's like, there's no, it's so safe.
Yeah, man.
You got to have some mystique. You got to have a little bit of grit and a little bit of uncertainty to it to really
That's
risk. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying you're going to
Yeah.
get robbed. I've been to a lot of places, in cities where it's like, we're going to this part of town. Your energy level's going to come up.
it.
You're going to feel maybe like there's certain threats happening everywhere, but like when you get to this bar or this venue or this place, like you're going to be excited. You might be excited for the wrong reasons, but like whatever that adrenaline was that you had walking through the streets to get to where you're going, like it's going to transfer into this place.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the Burl per se, but it definitely has this impact on you of like, I know that not everything is done by hand, and not just a white glove, money hand. It's like
It's
there's
like a
something that went
it's
in
like a
here.
baseball glove that's worn in. It's like a good mitt, It's like
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not
yeah.
a brand new glove that needs, it's
Well, you feel that when you go to the Burl. You feel the authenticity, you feel the grit, and just the space moves you.
Yeah. And we're a little bit like, don't quote this for the insurance guys or compliance guys,
cut
but
this part up.
we've got this sort of thing where it's like it just feels like there's not a lot of red tape, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You go to places where the security immediately makes you feel like, oh man, we're doing this, or I got these, like I can't really let loose. And like you can let loose here. What's so strange is people who let loose, like they regulate themselves in this way that I can't explain. It's just like, it's like it's almost like the more you put force on something, the more you try to bend something to fit in and like not get out of line, the more they push back. Here at the Burl, we've really kept it so loose that they're like, well, normally I would be somebody would be coming up to me and being like, get your stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
But like then they start realizing like, okay, I don't really need to push it.
Yeah.
I'm just happy. I don't have to like make a scene or assert myself here and among people that are pretty much all like me.
Yeah.
You just start feeling this comfort
That's
that
it.
There
just
it
kind of
is. There it is.
it
Comfort.
quells
Yeah.
all that negative bravado and just drama that can happen in places because they just get so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
not 33 security guards up front patting you down, wanted you.
Yeah, or just looming around. There's not a staff that's makes you feel like you're an annoyance. It's the same people every time. I'm not dealing with new people when I go to the Burl. They're like, I've seen this Eddie or Kelly or whoever, 1,000 times. It's like you just start feeling like, and I hate to say family, but it's like you just start feeling this sort of like family feel of like they know me, even if they don't remember my name, like I know them. And it's like, and that just sets the tone that kind of keeps everybody in this sort of trust system of behavior
Mm-hmm.
that's like it doesn't require all this red tape. It doesn't require all this oversight and compliance of just like feeling everybody through the right hallways. If I see some guy wandering around in the back room back there, like we will say something, but for the most part, like he's probably looking for the bathroom. I'll just be like, man, it's over there.
It feels like
And then
old
he's like, who are
friends.
you? And I'm like, I'm the owner. And he's like, cool. And it just feels different.
Feels like old friends.
Yeah, you go into any sort of major venue or major operation like that, they just you just start feeling like I'm never going to get anybody on the phone here, or I'm never going to talk to anybody that
Yeah.
listens, or whatever. It's just like it just makes it feel so much easier.
It's like Abby Hamilton knows Josh likes a Shirley Temple with 2 maraschino cherries in it.
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
Diet.
Yeah.
No.
Diet Sprite. But like walking in to like when I went to get my tickets at the Burl, like just starting right there, like everybody was so nice. They're like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Here we go." Some places you go into, it's like, "No, hold tight, son. We're gonna have to do a check here." And
stand here, don't speak. When I'm ready, I will talk to you. It's like that kind of stuff has been burned into our brains. With everything, and like we just totally recoil from that sort of experience because it's everywhere you go. And the people who don't do that, they stand out in your mind as someone that was positive,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that will take you a long, long way. Even if you do raise the drink prices or you do raise the ticket price, it's like you start being like, well, I can afford to make sure that they're doing okay, pay an
Yeah.
extra 50 cents or $1 because, I feel like a part of that.
Yep. 100%.
Absolutely.
Cannon, I'm glad you didn't become a lawyer, man. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I still am technically, but never going back. That's for sure. I really truly enjoy what we do down here, and hopefully it continues.
I think it.
Oh,
I
it
think it
will for
will.
sure.
Yeah,
It's been 10, but it'll roll beyond. It'll roll
I hope
1,000
so.
more. I got. I'd be remiss if I didn't hit these two last hard
All right.
balls
Well,
on my
hurry up,
list
dude.
here.
He's got to get back to
I
work.
know it's a speed round. I know, Cannon, you're a workaholic. I know you are, and you can tell because the product's great on the other side. But like, what are some, or like, what's one thing that you might do to like unwind, or maybe something you enjoy outside of working? Do you take time to intentionally like, okay, I got to separate myself here for a little
Yeah,
bit, or
for me, it's I'm a gamer, man.
Oh, cool.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a gamer. My son is a major gamer, so I go up into I invade his little game room and I sit there and I just zone out and play whatever I'm playing. He's got his little TV over there and he's talking to all his buddies. I get to pick up on the chatter, what's going on in his life. I'll
Yeah.
go up there and do that. Or I'll go down to Del Hollow, back where I'm from, the lake.
Good fishing.
Honestly, music is not it. I'll tell you that. You
yeah.
know,
You've heard
it's
some of that.
yeah, it's like, if you all, it's like, I don't know what that is, but it's some sort of syndrome, I imagine. That's like somehow you get not disenchanted. Because there are moments where I'm totally enchanted by the band
Yeah.
and the whole. I come back full circle to how it felt, but they're fewer and far between now because there's so much work that goes into it. So it's like, you know, I don't know, so music's kind of turned because I don't like going to big arenas, but I do love great bands and great artists. But it's just like now I'm more like I want quiet.
Yeah.
You know,
Del
I agree.
Hollow, quiet. Yeah.
it's like a little bit of quiet is, and that sounds such like a workaholic answer, man. But
I agree. Hey, for us,
It's all
it's going
good.
to it's going to Cave Run Lake, like just right out the door here, like fishing, recharging. That's it.
Anything that slows things down a little bit and you're not
yeah,
running
this
numbers.
world's on warp speed, so it's like I need to get off of that merry-go-round as much as I can.
100%.
Yeah.
Cannon, favorite thing about being a Kentuckian, or what makes you proud to be a Kentuckian?
Honestly, this is something that it's like it's not even that Kentucky has had like a moment in the last 10 to 15 years, but I just truly feel like whatever goes into however we're made, whatever it is about this particular region makes you it just makes it's just more interesting than maybe some other places. And that's not to say there's not very interesting people everywhere across the world or to really be like, I just feel like there's something special about it that I can't quite put my finger on. It's definitely Southern. It's definitely, um, country and has a ton of history. But I just feel like there's something here that shapes you in a way that you just stand out among other people and things. It's just
Mhm.
like I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm
I
very blessed
agree.
to be here.
Yeah,
It's just like you say
yeah,
you're from Kentucky, it just immediately has a response.
Yeah.
instantly. Yeah, it's like, whoa, you're a Kentucky boy, and it's like, yeah, and
Yeah,
I know what you're
and what
saying.
is that? It's like it's just like what's better than that?
that would be tough for me to answer too. Like, I'm like, I can't put my finger on it, but it's just there's something there that if you're from Kentucky or you felt it, then you know that feeling. It's like, yeah,
And it can have negative sort of connotations, but I think when they say it, I almost always hear it under there of like there is some sort of envy
yeah, a
that
little
I
bit.
just don't know what it is, but it's like it feels like there's definitely like whatever is the great people who have come out of the state or the industries that are in the state, they just have a certain, I don't know, just a certain, they got a they just got a cool thing about it,
There's a
It's like
common denominator that
there's something
folks,
there
yeah, hundred
that we
percent.
all benefit from. So
Hmm.
I'm just happy that I'm somehow benefiting from it,
It's probably the
without
fact
having
that,
done nothing.
yeah, they've all been to the Burl. Probably that's probably what it is.
Yeah, they're like Kentucky, the Burl. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that place. I know that place.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Might know that, but
But
yeah,
I do love Kentucky. And honestly, I love Lexington. I think Lexington is just the perfect mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you can still be a country boy, country girl, but you got all the sophistication that comes with some of the things that have happened in this town. That you can get elevated, you can get really low if you want. It's like
High and low.
you can go high and low in Lexington, and I love that about that. I can get down and roll around in the dirt somewhere on a farm, kicking up dust, and then I can move into some swanky little social club,
Yep.
2 hours later. And it's like where some prince, rolled in that's got his horse out there. It's like that's a crazy thing.
It is.
And there's always something cool in other places about, that makes them that. But it's like,
but yeah, Lexington's definitely special
Kentucky's
in that
better.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Kentucky, Lexington for sure.
Yeah.
And so people listening, they already probably know where to find the Burl. You can just go on social media. But
yeah,
I was going to tell people go to the Burl, go look online.
we're Allie, our marketing person, is pumping us out. I mean, I think people probably get sick of seeing the number of shows we announce, but I think at
Keep
the
'em
end of the
coming.
day, it's like, don't even think about it as the Burl if you're tired of seeing our posts about. Just think of it as like somebody likes this band, and they'll be happy that they're here.
Keep
There you go.
sending it.
That's it.
Yeah,
And then people listening to, hopefully we have a good solution where you can find the Burl and New Frontier collab, 10-year collab gear. We'll let you guys know. We'll make it known where it's available at when people listen to this. So
gotta figure something out because
Yeah.
I know people are gonna want
Oh yeah.
something.
it's hot, boys.
It's hot.
It's hot. It's on the grill and it's hot.
Okay, boys. Anything else?
Buddy, that's it. We appreciate it.
Just another 3 hours, Cannon, if you got it.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Cannon, thanks, dude. We really appreciate it.
Hey, can you believe his story was kind of like, so think about it like this. His story, I had no idea, by the way. Small town, was in a band, went up to the big city of Lexington, played around in that band a little. The Burl was incubated from the band that he was in, and then from there, hard work, hustle, grit has got the Burl where it is today. I just think it's cool that his story was authentic, and I love stories like that rather than like, oh, it was a multi-million-dollar investment from.
That's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and you love those stories. And he did such a good job at telling it. I feel like that's what you need to hear in like a business class or something in college, like what he just did on this podcast. Like that's a 101 of roll your sleeves up and get to work.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people just see stuff, it's successful, and you think, oh man, you got to be a Harvard guy to do stuff like that. Okay, that's one way, but like there's also other ways. What'd he say? Do it yourself, DIY. He has a degree in DIY, and I think that is something that more people need to practice.
Like he had a vision for the Burl, and it's come to fruition. He had a vision. They did it step by step. It reminded me a lot of us, like New
Me
Frontier.
too, man.
We had a vision, we have a vision, and it's like we're doing it in bite size. Like we can't do everything at once. You can't, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built on daily. And that's what they've done, and I really respect that.
Let's talk about the collab for a second.
Oh my God, dude. We worked with Cannon, Will, and his daughter Amelia on the design for this Burl collection over the last few months.
Multiple designs, from the stained glass and the Burl sketch of the building. There's so many cool designs with it.
And we released these products at their 10-year anniversary show, which was the Bolo Mules plant, and it sold out. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Jared, I was there at the show, and like people were buying them like hotcakes, and I was, so I didn't know it either. They sold out, so we're gonna have to like check on the restock there, because I know so many more folks will want that. So hopefully the collab can be available to people listening.
Burl County Fair, August 22nd. Very
and
grassy,
you know what?
very cool.
There's shows every day, every week. So like whenever somebody hears this, just get your tail on over to the Burl.
Get down there.
Hey, we didn't even talk about their food, by the way.
Get on down there.
Their chicken quesadilla will save your life. And,
It will.
and their fries. But yeah, the Burl food. But that was a big, awesome episode that was on our wish list for a long time now.
Well, if you made it this far, we appreciate you all listening to the New Frontier Show. We'll see you next time.
Will we?
We
Yeah,
will.
we will.
See ya.
Bye-bye.